I have something which I think is pleasant news when it comes to Hedera. And what is that? We take a look at this right here. We'll see that according to Altcoin Buzz, Crypto.com adds USDC support on Hedera. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, why is this pleasant news? Why isn't this amazing or, the best? Well, because it isn't, right? It's just pleasant news. It's good nonetheless because keep in mind, again, we take a look at this, right? Crypto.com adds USDC support on Hedera. Now, Crypto.com is a very massive exchange. There's over 100 million users. It's not as big as Binance, but they're one of the premier exchanges. It's up and coming. Take a look at their sponsorships, right? Take a look at what they did with the FIFA World Cup. Take a look at what they're doing with the UFC. Take a look at Crypto.com Arena. I mean, really, Crypto.com is one of these premier exchanges that knows a thing or two about advertising. They know how to get their name out there. They know what they're doing. And again, seeing news like this, I think it could be good for the future of Hedera and just helping it gain more exposure. And what I like about Hedera is the fact that, we're seeing a lot of good news come out recently when it comes to Hedera. For instance, there is a hypothetical potential for an HBAR ETF, or should I say Hedera ETF, through Canary Capital. That's still kind of an ongoing process. There's no guarantee, but you know what? Better days could be ahead when it comes to that. And not to mention, we see, the Hashgraph Association doing this, doing that. So really, when it comes to Hedera, despite not being the biggest project out there, first of all, it's still kind of doing things behind the scenes. Not to mention, when you take a look at the price of HBAR, it hasn't really tanked in the same way that we've seen with a bunch of other altcoins, also a lot of meme coins out there. It's still holding pretty good. I'm not saying that HBAR is doing the best or anything like that, but then still it's not doing that bad. Now, some people may be thinking that, okay, yeah, who cares about USDC and all this? Well, USDC, I would argue, according to many of my friends, like their number 2 go-to stablecoin. Now, personally for me, USDC is my go-to stablecoin, but even besides that, when it comes to a lot of people out there, they prefer USDT, and the second is, of course, USDC. So I think this is really great news. And when I take a look at Hedera, it's this project that is really, I think, very underrated. Why is that? It's because people often consider these layer 1 blockchains or just these other blockchains in general. They think that, wow, this is fantastic. This is the next big thing. And I totally get why they may think that way, but there really is something that could be a lot better in my opinion. And that is something called, a directed acyclic graph, which Hedera Hashgraph is. Now, what's so special about a directed acyclic graph? Again, something like Hedera doesn't use traditional blockchain technology. Again, it uses that, right? A directed acyclic graph. Now, the benefits of this is improved data storage, better scalability, right? Also on top of that, reduced energy consumption. So again, it has a lot of benefits. The way I take a look at it is that it's basically like, blockchain technology, but better. You know what I mean? It just kind of improved. Now, it's not exactly that, of course, but that's just the analogy and, kind of the way I take a look at it. Now, is $3 still my price target for HBAR during this bull run? Yes. And even though nothing I say is financial advice, the reason being is because, again, we know how well blockchains are doing and have been doing. We know that. We know they're still going to do good in the future, at least in theory. So I think it's only fair to assume that something that is, on paper at least, better than that, why can't it do good as well, if not better, right? I'm not saying that when it comes to, something like Hedera, it's going to see the best adoption out there because it's probably not in the next couple of years, and it's not even doing that as of right now, right? It's still defeated by many blockchains out there, but I'm just saying this could be a good step moving forward. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, if let's say altcoins peak near the end of 2025 or something like that, or, early 2026, whatever the case may be, some people may be thinking that, that's not in line for when Hedera is going to see mass scale adoption. And I totally understand that because, again, mass scale adoption doesn't happen, overnight. It doesn't happen in like 3-6, months, right? Or like, in a year, let's say. It doesn't usually work that way. But it doesn't really matter because during a fully fledged bull run, what people care about is the narrative. They care about the hype. They care about, the amount of holders, the exchange listings, and also they care about what something could be. They care about the roadmap, so to speak, right? The plan. And Hedera, they have those boxes ticked. It's just as of right now, the market isn't doing the best. So HBAR can't really spread its wings yet, at least in theory. It did a little bit, right? Before we had this pullback when it comes to just cryptocurrencies in general, but I still do believe that better days are ahead. And I think the fact that HBAR hasn't really dumped that much in the grand scheme of things compared to other altcoins, I think the reason is because the holders do believe in this. They understand this is very special. They haven't given up in a lot of cases I've seen. And not to mention, it's not like they think it's a bad project, because it isn't. It's very revolutionary. If it's a meme coin, it's very easy for people to kind of give up on it, especially if the community isn't the most rock solid, like Pepe or Dogecoin or Shiba. I'm totally aware of that, but I'm just saying still, HBAR is still holding pretty strong compared to a lot of other altcoins. And not to mention, when people think that this born is going to be bad, I just disagree with that. There's over 600 million crypto owners as of right now, according to Crypto.com research. With that amount of crypto owners, I highly doubt that, what we saw, when it comes to the peak of, Bitcoin, at least most recently, right? Also, when it comes to HBAR, I just have a hard time believing that that is, the end of the bull run. I just don't think so. Even historically speaking, we do know that as a worst case scenario, altcoins, they usually peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, this based off history, there's no guarantee, but if we take a look at it as a worst case, right? That's worst case based on the last Bitcoin halving event that happened in April of last year. That's around October this year, because of course, 18 months from then is, that time frame, right? Now, some people might be thinking, okay, that's kind of a long time. Well, I don't really mind, because I'm dollar cost averaging anyways. So any time and income I'm acquiring, I'm holding, and I'm just waiting. I'm not putting what I would have used for my day-to-day expenses. Here's the thing. A lot of people out there that I've seen, they put an amount that they are not willing to lose, in a sense that, capital that they could have used for their rent or their car payment or their groceries, right? They put that into cryptocurrencies because they think it's going to go up in the next week or a month. But then in some cases, that's not how it works. Sure, some people may luck out, like, during a fully fledged bull run or whatever. That could happen, but sometimes the market's going to go down. Sometimes there's going to be pullbacks. So that is why I don't do that. I put anything that I would have put into my savings account anyways into cryptocurrency. So then let's say it does go down, I'm not like, frustrated or anything like that, because it wasn't what I was going to use to live my life anyways, if that makes sense, right? It's not like I'm buying fancy things or anything like that. So then, I'm not overly concerned anyways when I see my portfolio go down and say, oh yeah, wow, man, I could have bought this thing or whatever. No, that's not me. It's like, I would have put into my savings account anyways. I'm not a big spender in terms of buying random nonsense. So it's what I would have put into my savings account anyways. So again, if things do have a pullback, fine. I'll wait it out. I'll just accumulate more, lower down my average cost. Because think about this, right? Hedera has a rock-solid governing council. And this is not a joke, because Hedera's governing council includes the likes of Google. And yeah, you heard that right. I'm talking about Google. Take a look at IBM. Take a look at LG. The list is very fantastic, right? So the way I view it is that Hedera is a very rock-solid project. I don't think it's a bad project. And seeing news like, for instance, again, regarding Crypto.com and USDC, when it comes to Hedera, I do like that. It's a good step in the right direction. As of right now, I'm only going to control things that are within my control, which is dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting, because $3, keep in mind, if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $127 billion. I don't see why not. That's still over $400 billion less than Ethereum's all-time high market cap. And take a look back in 2021, even BNB was able to reach over $100 billion market cap. And BNB is not this revolutionary. I just don't see why not during this fully fledged bull run, especially with over 600 million crypto owners going to the price of $3, around a 12x from here. That wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciated. It's Mali the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm on. Peace. Bye.